Hello all. I thought today we would do a peak oil update. We haven't done one in a while, and it's very hard to get any information that's up to date. So a lot of this is just guessing on my part from what the information I have. Let's go to the board and let me show you. Okay, this is 1,000 barrels per day. These units over here. So this is 100,000, this is 70,000. So in 2000 we were at about 75,000 barrels per day. We came up a little bit in 2001 to 2002, then we jumped up to 80,000 plus. Then we sort of started to flatten out. We sort of peaked out somewhere, it's hard to say, but let's just call it 2007. Then we dropped, and then we've been coming back, and now it's sort of like this, where there's a slight decline in oil. And the predictions of 100,000 barrels per day just isn't coming true. Consumption, on the other hand, is something like this. And it just keeps skyrocketing up and up. So because the consumption is going up, the oil that we have is going down. So it looks like Shell Oil is pulling out of their fracking wells east of the Mississippi River, mostly in Kansas. The reason is because it costs more money to get a barrel of oil through fracking than you get out. You put in a barrel of oil to get out less than a barrel. That's what we had predicted some time ago, that frack would not be worth it, and that they wouldn't get very far with fracking. So that leaves tar sands oil and what's left of regular conventional oil. One of the new places that the oil is supposed to come from is Iraq. They're now the second biggest oil producer in the world. Let's go to the board and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, Iraq is going to boost their output to 3.5 million barrels per day from 3.3 million barrels per day. However, Japan next year needs an additional 300,000 barrels per day. South Korea needs 250,000 barrels per day. China needs 900,000 additional barrels per day next year, and India is asking for an additional 400,000 barrels per day. I think we're in trouble. Okay, at this time let's go up and see how many barges there are in San Francisco Bay, which in the past we've used to determine what the supply for northern, central, and southern California, parts of Oregon and Washington are, by the amount of barges we see in San Francisco Bay, which are the barges that have the crude oil that produces our particular type of gasoline. A high number would be 10 to 12. A low number is 3 to 0. Okay, there only seems to be 2 barges in San Francisco Bay. Yesterday there were 3. Other than the Canadian tar sands, there doesn't seem to be a lot more oil coming online. Not in the quantities that people need to keep driving and keep their standard of living the way it is now. There's another problem with all this oil, and there's a good reason why we need to switch over to solar and wind. Let me show you. There's a severe pollution problem happening all over the planet. One of the major problems is the Pacific Garbage Patch, which, according to my sources, is anywhere from 700,000 square kilometers to 15,000 square kilometers. There are 2 patches in the Pacific. One is here, and the other one is here, Hawaii being here. This is mostly made up of petroleum-based plastic that never breaks down. There's nothing that eats it. It just gets into smaller and smaller pieces. And the more plastic that we make, the more ends up in the Pacific Ocean. This Pacific Garbage Patch, of course, is from what happened with the tsunami in Japan. It made a whole nother one, plus it added lots of little ones all throughout, and is combined with this one, and is now starting to come down the US coast, Canada and Alaska. There's so many reasons not to use petroleum-based products anymore. You can now use corn instead of plastic. This bag is all made of corn, yet it acts like plastic, but it breaks down. If you get it wet for very long, it'll break down. This spoon is made of corn instead of plastic. So the possibilities of changing from petroleum to corn-based plastics is much better. You can use these to put your old food in to compost, and these will rot away. Now, enough for that. Let's go over and find out who won the numbers issue, our numbers exercise that we're doing to get ready for the board-ons. Nobody actually guessed the right number, but everybody seemed to come in the right area. So the practice seems to be doing well, except there's very low turnout, very few people taking part. We're going to need more people to do this board-on. So let's go find out who came closest to the number. Okay, so it looks like nobody quite got it, but let's take a look. It was 22. Was the actual number. So Justin Sanner came in first, XCXCXCX came in second, and Paulo Montero came in third. Very close. Since we need to hone our skills and we need more guesses, need more people to participate in the board-ons, I'll explain how to do that once it gets close. We're still a little ways off. But let's try another one. And this time we'll go from 10 to 99, between 10 and 99. The number is up here. My orientation, here's my head. This will be north, west, this direction. Okay, just so you know, I'm looking northwest, and I believe that the output is more out the back end than the front end, but we're not sure. So let me know what your guess is, and until next time.